Yo, JD here, Limitless, and we are back on F1 2021 as always here today, and we are on Spa-Francorchamps, a track that, along with China, I've probably found the most increased in difficulty from F1 2020. I just find even going up El Rouge or Radillon, whichever you want to call it, is very, very tricky in this game. The curbs as well are very auto spinny, and just the grip of the track itself, it's just very, very hard to hook up everything around this circuit. So we're starting last. We've got drivers such as VRT Critch, MBSFN, and many more fast drivers in here. So this should be a good test. We are running my time trial setup, so absolutely zero changes from the hot lap, and I feel it works really well around this track. I've tried other people's setups, and I think you just definitely need a stability and straight line speed, and that's what this setup offers. So I really hope people have found those useful, that you are still enjoying the game. And you can already see there is an absolute carnage already. So we're started on the medium tires here, and we're going to try something very different around this track, which I believe was tried in F1 Esports last year. I think maybe last year, or I think it was 2 years before. I think on the F1 2018, I remember Joni Tomola, he pitted lap 1 for the soft tyres, because although they're not particularly durable, the undercut is absolutely massive. And I really had that in mind in this race. I thought, you know what, we're in this position in P13, people like Critch and the other fast guys, they are up ahead. It's going to be very hard to negotiate through this traffic. Why not try the unthinkable and do a completely polar opposite strategy? Whereas you really want to be going long into this with the mediums, because the fresher softs are very beneficial. But you're about to see, as we put up the MFD, we're actually going to box this lap and go on softs until the end of the race, because it definitely is possible. You'll definitely be a lot slower than you typically would at the end of the race, but the undercut is going to be absolutely massive, I was predicting. So we're going to go into the pits here now. Not going to have any traffic whatsoever, and we're just going to see what we can do in this race, because I think Critch, who is a very fast driver, he was a few seconds up the road as well. So we're going to need at least 2 laps to get that full undercut on him, and if he pits late, then it should be a very interesting finale at the end of this race, which I can tell you right now, it is. So make sure you stay strapped in to the end of this video. But for people asking as well, if you want a first priority invite for these lobbies, then my YouTube membership is there. If you join that, then you will get priority for these lobbies. We will get access to setups, race setups that I use for my league races, and hopefully many more benefits for you to use. And I really appreciate everyone who has joined that so far. We do have a few new members of the Extra Rotation Club, which I will be shouting out every new member, along with putting all of their details on each video in the future. So I really want to thank Adhi Mark 83, NXT, GNRTN, James Cook, Chris Power, and Mad Rabbit 2561. Thank you for becoming new Extra Rotation members, and for everyone else who has joined the membership, I really hope you have found that useful. But moving back to this now, we're in P18, having to really get our foot down, but not so much where you're going to burn out the tires. So you can see we're not using any of the ERS right now, doing a purple middle sector, because we do have the freshest soft tires. You can see the fastest lap is a 43.4 by EXR Stonks, who is a very quick driver himself. So let's see what we can do now. So as I said, I want to be pushing, but not too hard, where I'm going to take all the life out of these tires. And the setup I'm running here is a 6.3 wing configuration. Most people run 6.4, with the rest of the setup quite oversteery. I just find it too oversteery for me personally in a race situation, and I need that straight line speed and stability as well. I'd rather have those two things than the pure quartering speed, because I do feel they're probably just as important. So that's really what I typically like to go for. And with that stability, it actually protects your tyres. It stops you from oversteering as well. And it just really, really works for me. So you can see going through here, not really using much of the ERS. I don't think it really used any going down that main straight here. So let's see what kind of lap times we can do now. You're able to see by that mini map that the leaders are quite far ahead. So we definitely still have a lot of work to do. And apologies in advance for wearing that Arsenal shirt. I'm just trying to get their season back on track because you're into football. They're not going through a good time right now. So that's my form of being supportive for the team right now. But the task at hand is trying to do the best we can as we get our first track invalidation. So that's not ideal for what you wanted. Go through here. It's not a purple middle sector because the softs do degrade pretty quickly. It's about 4% or so a lap here, which I think we are pretty shortly about to see. So the tyre wear is fairly reasonably high, but it's more about the performance. The performance does drop off quite quickly. So we're coming up behind Trey, this guy who's a YouTube member who unfortunately the curb gets the better of him there. As I said, they're very, very unforgiving, but that actually gives us the fastest up of the race with 43.0 without really pushing that hard. And you can see some people have come out of the pits. Iro Schumacher, who has pitted from the softs going to the medium, so that's a very, very early call for doing that. And now we're going to be using a little bit more of the ERS now going through into here, and let's see if we can try and keep this consistency going, because I can see there's a big train of cars there. They're all going to be holding each other up, so these are the prime moments to be maximizing its undercut as much as possible. But we are coming up behind a couple of cars here. This McLaren seems to be having a few little issues, and now we've come up behind a big group of cars, so we have to get through this very quickly if we want to try and make the strategy work. And that is the same in esports. When you're on Tomla, you really have to try and maximize it as much as possible. So coming through into here, we're saving the ERS still again, but you can see Schumacher is going down the inside of his car. Is it going to be a little bit of contact? Yes, I think there is going to be a little bit of contact, so we're going to have to try and make a move. Danny was thinking back on Danny inside here, so we're going to try and get a good exit of this corner, but this is not what you want. We can see we lost 3 tenths before our previous fastest lap there, so this is not what we want. But he's got a red light, so we're going to try and go down through the middle of him. He pushes me on the grass, but I don't think that was intentional. Just about managed to get through there scot-free here. And we're going to go down the inside. Oh, Schumacher, we think about going down the inside. He leaves plenty of room, so very clean, fair driving for him. So fair play. And we're getting the DRS, get a good exit with these soft tyres, and we haven't lost too much in terms of our previous lap time, which should be lapping still quicker than majority of the grid. Now we're coming up to these 2 cars here. We probably have to get past both of these by the end of this straight, because we cannot afford to be really losing time behind these cars. As one goes, the other loses the momentum. We're going to pick up the position using the ERS, but I think he is still using the ERS himself, so he's thinking about going for the overtake. So we have to use a little bit more battery power we need, but you can see 6 tenths gained in that first sector by the use of the ERS and the DRS, almost cutting that corner, but doing that very nicely. And now we have a fairly nice gap in front of us, some nice clean air to really try and show our pace. So the gap is about 3.5 up ahead. Let's see how quickly that goes closing in. But I knew at this stage I was definitely going faster than the people likes of Critch, who would, at this stage, if I was on mediums, I'd probably be doing the very high 43s or low 44s. So if I could increase the fastest lap, what I'm about to do here, I believe, is we're coming through this middle split. We are half a second up on our time. So that's a quite impressive pace for being on this tyre so far. But we're actually using the rest of our overtake button because I really wanted to try and maximize it, as my teammate is going into the pits, as you saw there. So I knew I really had to get out as far ahead of him as possible. So that's why I'm using the rest of my battery power. Coming up behind these 2 cars here, what lap time are we going to do? It's a 42.2. Despite pitting lap 1, doing 5 laps on these tyres, we've done a low 42, which My PB is a 41.4 or 5, but that's when I pitted on like lap 7 or 8 of the race. It really is a huge difference when you have fresher tyres, because the lap is just so long around here. As he's giving me the good old squeeze, but we are going to make this work, and we have come out about 3.5 seconds ahead of Critch. So we have done the undercut. Have we undercut anyone else? A lot of people have still stayed out. We still have 5 cars up ahead of us as well. So I've got to try and put as many cars as possible between myself and Critch, as Toby's light is flashing red. So we do have really about 40% more ERS than him. So trying to get a good exit coming off this corner. He gets a bit out of shape. We're just going to use our battery power. I knew he was going to be slow in a straight line, and we get that move done. So that is very crucial here. And that really didn't cost us that much time at all, as we have one more guy up out ahead of us who I believe hasn't pitted yet. He also has a 3-second time penalty. So I'm going to try and put as much distance as I can between myself and Critch, and also MBSFN, who's a driver who I've said before struggles over the qualifying, but in the race he's actually very, very fast, very consistent. So I know he has probably got the freshest tyres out of most people right now, and he will be closing in towards the end of this race. So I'm just trying to keep up the advantage as much as I can, but being mindful that it's most likely I will be caught by Critch, who is now into P2 here. So he's going to be chasing me down, and he has about 5 lap fresher tyres than me, which I said it was about 4% a lap. So he's going to have about 20% or more better wear, which is quite significant around here. So you can see in this situation, many people would be tempted to just keep on pushing with the ERS, but I know since the straights are so long and my setup is very good in the straight line as well, that if I could just keep with him towards the end of the race, I might actually have an opportunity to hang on, because I know he's going to be quicker in the corners, and you can already see he is closing in with the extra grip. But if I can keep him at the DRS zones for as long as I can, then we could have a chance towards the end, because his tyres will start to degrade and the performance will be getting closer and closer between the both of us. So you can see the gap is coming down quite quickly now. Also with MBSFN, he's coming quite quickly towards us, but he does have a 3-second time penalty. So we do have about 4 laps remaining, including this one. I was trying to keep him out of this DRS zone. So you can see by the Delta, he was closing in. I'm using a little bit of the overtake, and you can see that Delta is going to rise slowly because we do have the quicker car in a straight line. I believe he was running 6.4 wings here. So, but coming through into chicane, you'll be able to see by just that extra downforce and that extra grip, he's already just made up 4 tenths just going for that corner alone. So he has the superior grip right now, and he confirms that with the 42.1, which is a quick time in itself, but I was very happy to do a 42.2 despite how old these tyres were. So we're just going to use a little bit of the ERS here just to make sure he doesn't overtake us, because the earlier he overtakes us, the more chance it's going to be that he's going to be able to pull a second in this middle sector. So I really wanted to try and delay him overtaking me for as long as possible, because the longer I do it, as I said, the more the tyres will become an even playing field. So coming through to here, I'm just driving the best I can to try and keep the tyres in check, to try and keep that gap up as much as I can. And the setup, as I've said, was just working very, very well. Just felt in very good control, just great stability, and it also has that straight line speed. So I'd say the strategy has worked out very nicely, because we have managed to skip through all that traffic. He was a good 2 or 3 cars ahead of me, 3 seconds ahead of me. And if I wasn't able to get through that traffic quickly, closing him down on the same freshness of tyres, I don't think we would have had enough time, or maybe even enough speed, to do it in the time we wanted. So this is really our only chance we had to try and get ahead of him and win this race. But you can see he is right behind us now. I'm not using any of the overtake here, because I knew it was going to be inevitable. He was going to get the DRS. But coming through it here, we tried to do something a little bit cheeky. We maybe try and let him go through, but he doesn't take the bait. as I did on Eero Viper in TSRL on the last lap, I went straight on that as tail 1. Are we going to maybe try and do the same thing again? So a little bit of mind games coming on here. Are we going to do the same thing again? No, we don't, because I believe he was expecting that. I think he actually backed off coming through here. So now we just take this opportunity. He's actually lost a little bit of momentum because of that. So we're going to use the battery power just to try and keep ahead of him once again, because our straight line speed is going to be very good. And the longer we can do it, the better it is, as I've kept on saying all this time. But there's no way he's going to be able to overtake us going down the straight. There's no real overtaking opportunity in this middle sector. So he's going to have to wait for the next lap, which is another 4% way. You can see we're almost on a 40% already here, where I think we are on the rear tyres right now. So just try to keep him in as best shape as possibly can. His tyres are probably going to be on around 20% at this point, so double the freshness that we have got. But you can see we're still carrying pretty good speed for the corner, so the tyres still didn't feel too bad. It's just the performance difference between the two. It's going to be quite a sizable one, as you can see his MFD just keeps popping up every time you hit a rounded 10% value, which is very annoying, I have to say. I really hope they do decide to change that. But this is round 2 again. Are we going to do the same thing? I don't think we are this time here. So he's about the same distance as he was behind. See, MBSFN is closing in quite quickly here. So we're not going to do the same maneuver as we did going to chicane. We're going to still try and get as good exit as we can. But I think he's going to be a little bit too close. So you can see we're doing a 44.1. So the tyres are dropping off quite quickly now. And we tried to repeat as we did in TSRL, but he isn't going to take the bait once again. But this time, I think he's a little bit too close. So he's probably going to have a really good opportunity to overtake us now. So coming up through into here, I'm going to make it fairly difficult for him. I'm not going to make it super easy, because I am going to be faster and straight line with his wing configuration. But with the DRS, he is going to make the pass. So I do turn off the ERS now, and now it's just all about if I can stay with him going through to here. He needs to pull half a second in this next sector, because then the last sector, my straight line speed is going to be good. So it's all about how usable the setup is now, and I still felt a good amount of stability. So coming through into here, he goes a little bit wide, and I actually gained a bit of time on that exit as well. You can see his straight line speed is helping go through here, really taking a bit more of a risk, and we've gained a bit more time again. So we are doing enough. We are doing more than enough to keep ourselves in contention going through into here, up into 5th gear, just to make sure the car is stable. And we have driven this middle sector very, very well, despite having these aging tyres. So he makes a mistake, so we're using a little bit of the boost, but turning it off early, because I know our straight line speed is going to be good. So we're just going to carry that momentum going down the straight. You can see almost on 50% wear now, and you can see with this straight line speed, it is working very well with the slipstream. So we just have to try and be as close as we can. He is going to have the better traction coming off here. You can see gain 6 temps just going for that chicane, but we do have the DRS going through here, and if we could stay within 6 to 7 temps, we do have an opportunity to overtake. So coming in here, do we get a good exit? Yes, we do get a good exit, and we are just about within that 6 temps as we need. So coming up through to here, we still have quite a lot of ERS to play with, and I know the wings I'm running are going to be faster in a straight line. So we are using the DRS. He goes defensive. Can we make a move round this outside? It's absolutely now or never. Do we go around the outside of our teammate? Does he give us room? Yes, we do get the move done. Back into the lead here. And this is exactly what I needed to do, because if I didn't get that move done, I think it would have been the race win potentially over. So in this middle sector, he isn't going to have the opportunity to overtake unless we make a big mistake. But you can see by our driving, we're actually quite strong in this middle sector as well. So going through into here once again, doing this very, very nicely. He does gain a little bit of time back, but we still have quite a lot of ERS to use going down this back straight, and that is the benefit of running slightly lower wings. So coming through into a sequence of corners, we're just about to enter the last sector now. Do we get a good exit? Yes, we do get quite a good exit. Now we're going to use the battery power. Is he going to have enough going down this straight, and you can see he is gaining slowly with the slipstream and the ERS he is using, but we do have enough. He isn't going to be level, so what do? We go into the middle of the track, make it very difficult, but he tries to go down the inside. We leave some room on the inside, but are we going to get it done? Yes, we are going to get it done. After peeing lap 1, we have done the impossible, and we have managed to undercut everyone and hang on with these tyres, despite how worn they actually were compared to Critch and MBSFN. But fair play to them. They drove a very, very fair race, and I really enjoyed that one. So I really hope you enjoyed that content as well. Thank you so much for support on the channel here, and for all the extra rotation members and all the members of the Discord. Thank you so much, and I will catch you soon. Peace.